can't tell you how many times an individual who encountered something that was very unusual, but they either didn't think it was suspicious, they didn't think to escalate it up the chain. Once I was doing an independent review for a financial institution, and as part of my transaction testing, I pulled a new customer, and this new customer, it was actually a new account for an existing customer, and just got to looking through it, and what the new account was, they had partnered up with some additional business owners, or some people had contacted him about this business opportunity. So he set up an account for an app. Okay. He didn't really know exactly what the app was going to be. He just knew it needed a bank account to run funds through. Well, we started investigating the app, and it turns out what the app was is it was a payment processing program so that cannabis dispensaries could transact using cryptocurrency. So they had this account opened, and they hadn't, really, they didn't understand the full nature and purpose of that account. But it was very high risk, and it was outside of the risk appetite for the financial institution. They didn't want to be, having a customer along those lines. And the interesting takeaway is when I went in and I actually talked to the person who had opened this account, she actually told me, and she was familiar with who I was. She said, "Kevin, I knew exactly which relationship you wanted to talk to as soon as I saw you come into my office, because I just had a bad feeling." As they came in, this is a great customer, somebody that was she was familiar with, and just had this story about this business opportunity, and she's in customer service, so she wanted to help them get it done. But she just said that she had a bad feeling. And that's exactly the kind of feeling that we want to harness, to make sure that they're identifying the high risk situations and that they're reporting it up the chain appropriately. And so what kind of training do we need to make sure that awareness is high enough? And that's letter A of your monitoring system. Then how are you managing alerts? So if red flags, or if those those comments or those unusual circumstances that your frontline team members are seeing, do those get up through to your BSA monitoring program? A lot of times they tell their manager, and maybe their manager solves the problem, or maybe the manager makes the determination, says, "You know what? Yeah, that's really weird, but I don't know if it's suspicious, so I'm not going to tell the BSA department about it." And they just kind of manage it in-house. Well, that's going to be a problem. All of this information should be flowing appropriately, because you need to document that you're catching it, but then also that those red flags are getting up the chain appropriately, that they're properly investigated, that you're documenting how that process is working. And then if there's any enhanced due diligence that's triggered, maybe there's some unusual activity, and that will trigger some level of follow-up. And how can you do that? That's really how you demonstrate your management process.